Hello, and welcome back to MCNN. I'm Rosaic, and this week, the Past Life server is running on 1.4.7, so that means we all need to hold our horses because those are still a couple updates away. But what has been added this week are some new skins. The rejects have some new custom skins made by Mugsy, who clearly misses Hot Topic as much as certain members of our news team. That's not the only change that happened to the rejects this week, since Joel took the week off so he and Lizzie could have a child. We at MCNN would like to congratulate them and wish them the best. So who filled in for Joel? None other than Mumbo Jumbo, of course, back for his second appearance in the season that he is officially not in. Fortunately, it was a pretty smooth substitution.
Yeah, that's
him. Come on, Joel.
You now
Joel,
just
give
need
it
to
him.
just
Give it
do
to him
that
good.
for the rest of the session sporadically, every 5 to 10 minutes, if that.
That is what I tend to do. Yeah, I tend to.
Joel is actually chuffed to bits.
Absolutely chuffed to bits.
Why don't you give him something on the neck, Joel? Come on, Joel. Give him something on the neck. Come on.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh no!
Okay, that was too much.
I don't know about this.
We at MCNN would like to congratulate Skizzleman on his own first this week, the first person to upload. That's right, Skizz uploaded his episode a whole day early. In celebration, B-Dubs didn't upload at all. He said that was up to audio issues. Finally, there was one more big change that happened to the rejects this week, the terrain. Suddenly, their L-base is at the top of a very steep hill. But Jimmy had a plan for that. Let's go to NursingGeek for more.
The rejects discover that their base is now far above its previous location. In fact, it's so far up that after making a jump into water he isn't sure he'll survive, Jimmy decides to dedicate much of the session to building a way back up. Once he determines that slabs stack in this version, he decides he'll build a gradual bridge upwards with them. Despite having apologized for being mean to Jimmy about his farm last week, Skizz questions his choice of dirt for a railing. So, when he gets the opportunity to show his work off to Smallishbeans, Jimmy promptly throws Skizz onto the bus for setting off creepers in their base. Not all the feedback he gets is negative, though. While Pearl initially hems and haws a bit, she ultimately compliments Jimmy on his work, particularly as he's accidentally ensured it's not flammable. Cleo outright compliments the design, as does B-Dubs, which clearly makes Jimmy's day. Of course, the rejects' one remaining concern is where their base will be next week. Will they still be based in the sky, or will the bridge have become a stairway to heaven? Only time will tell. Back to you, Rosaic.
Thanks, NursingGeek. This week also saw the return of the Boogeyman with 2 new killers, Scar and Tango, much to Grian's dismay as he continues his streak of never getting chosen as the Boogie in his own series. Both of them immediately tell their teams and get to work, which reverses the cabin crew plans for this session. Right after apologizing for how the group reacted to Etho running off to kill a lot of people last session because of a server task, the group immediately runs off to try and kill a lot of people because of a server task. For more on that, let's go to Harmony.
This week, Scar is once again plagued with the curse. Once he learns he's the Boogeyman, he tells the cabin crew and the team plots ways for him to get a kill. Scar suggests he makes a game he calls Ringing the Dinner Bell, where the objective is to pillar up, hit a note block, and then pillar back down, taking advantage of a bug he calls bucking bronco blocks, where digging down doesn't always make the block disappear and bucks the player off to the side instead. But after Etho's King of the Hill game last week, the chances of it succeeding this week are slim. Scar makes an early attempt against Smallish Jumbo. Scar surrounds him in sand in an attempt to suffocate Mumbo Beans, but the attempt fails spectacularly, and Beans Mumbo gets away with his lives intact, unaware his life was ever in danger. After the break, Scar calls over the cabin boys to make another plan. They decide to ask Martin if they can trap the improv club, to which he agrees without a second thought. While the code word Serampulous leaves Martin tongue-tied, the stage is set. With Martin in charge of signaling the final act, Scar waits up in the catwalk to drop TNT, but his cat-like reflexes may have put him up too high. Martin crouches for too long, hiding his name tag, causing Scar to start the scene early. The TNT falls, and Jimmy, Skizz, Bigby, Ren, Etho, and B-Dubs all play dead in the next scene. With 2 more ally kills under his belt, Scar apologizes profusely to them and offers his diamonds. In the end, Scar was cured of his curse and forgiven, but he probably won't be invited back to Improv Club unless he can think of a really good prompt.
Thanks, Harmony. In other Boogeyman-related news, Scott agreed to headline a fight this session against ZombieCleo. This fight was planned by Cleo, who spent most of the session building an arena that most of the server agreed was trapped, but couldn't decide who trapped it. Some said beat-ups, some said Cleo, but really, it was Tango Tech all along. With so many people helping to coordinate this kill, surely it went off without a hitch, right? Right?
Tango may be in contention for the title of worst boogeyman to ever do it. With the myriad of misfortunes he was made to face this session, he went through multiple plans to attempt to claim his kill, some of which almost didn't fail. Tango began his quest by having Impulse distract ZombieCleo so Tango could attempt to light TNT behind them. Cleo survived unscathed. In fact, the only thing that was scathed was the room the explosion happened in. This was followed by Tango lighting TNT next to Grian after setting off the baby square hole. Grian survives by jumping down the hole, proving the baby square hole may be looking to right the wrongs of its parent. Tango's final attempt was to rig the arena in which the Joel and Scott fight would take place. This was done with a button that, when pressed, would light a far from insignificant quantity of explosives, ideally leading to the death of the winner. Tango gets the timing wrong, however, and fails to so much as scratch the intended victims. Tango ends his session in a 1x2 hole, sulking and sobbing. Given that Tango is now the second ever boogie failure, the first was Scott in Last Life and that was voluntary, yet the first to fail on green, he will now be brought to his red life at the beginning of the next session. I would say well played, but given his failure, this seems far from it.
Thanks, Serotonin. Before we wrap up for this week, we wanted to give some quick building updates on the server. This week saw an additional layer added to the Gluten Guy's pyramids as Rendog installed an outer layer, a totally original idea.
This is history in the making, Impulse. Never in the history of Minecraft has anyone made a pyramid inside a pyramid.
Never in the history of Minecraft. Wow, that's a bold statement, but I like it. We'll stick with that.
And if someone in the comments says, well, I made a pyramid inside of a pyramid on my single-player world, well, then guess what, Impulse? I'm going to make a pyramid inside of a pyramid inside of a pyramid.
There you go.
And no one's done that.
Definitely nobody's done that.
And in the realm of breaking things, the villains added another square hole to the outside of their base, just in time for the rejects to smash all their windows. It was only fair after all, as Grian had snuck around the rejects base hoping to hear some nefarious plans, but only heard the rejects complimenting Bigby's muscles, eventually getting their revenge. However, it's not all bad news for the rejects, since they added bedrooms for some of their cabin friends. Speaking of the cabin crew, they can finally stop yearning for their nice blocks as they finally have access to horizontal logs.
We have cobblestone walls now.
Oh!
We have upside down stairs.
I'm seeing outside like
Sideways
slabs?
logs, let's go!
Sideways logs!
Sideways logs! Oh my god!
And that's all for this week. As always, here's the list of all the deaths we had this week. I've been Rosaic, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Oh my god. Shipicadipolus. Okay, yeah, that's right. Shipicadipanus. Shipicadipanus. Selicadonis. Yep. Selicadonis.